There, record there. We live. We live right now. Today's Wednesday, 5:54 a.m. September 18th, 2024. We're doing great. Just trying to do what we can right now. It is hot in my house actually, so we're gonna see what we can do for this time period. But other than that, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great. And we're gonna get right into the topic, I think. Had issues or things to talk about. But really, what it is, the topic is about every recipe works. I've been playing around with the Kin grinder for the past couple of days, and it's been working out really well. I like the grinder a lot. It's a very good grinder. But one thing I've noticed is that for the most part, I leave it at the same grind size. And it seems to work for mostly everything. Don't get me wrong. There's been times where the coffee has been under extracted, has been over extracted, depending on the coffee. Because I'm dealing with light roast beans, dark roast beans, medium roast beans, and different brew methods that call for different grind sizes, actually. But you can manipulate or play around with that a little bit more if you're trying to just get it to be tasty all the time. Like, for instance, my go-to ratio is 1 to 15 ratio. Love that ratio. It's a good balance of like strength, but also like clarity of what I taste in the coffee. I can decipher a little bit better what I'm actually tasting in the coffee. But sometimes you have to deviate from that, meaning that if you try a recipe and it's a 1 to 15, and the cool thing for the most part is I'm not doing TDS. Just trusting the palate, tasting what I'm tasting and seeing if it is what it is that I'm tasting. Is that I would either add more water or change up the type of recipe that I'm doing in order to see if I can get a more ideal balanced cup, something that's not bitter, something that's not under extracted. Because sometimes these coffees tend to, even if you go under extracted, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's sour. It just means that it's weak. It's not flavorful. It's very hard to decipher what you're tasting. So those are some of the things that I am going through right now in playing around with different coffees. So I think that's what I mean by that, is that every recipe works. A slow pour, fast pour, different filters, extract less, extract more by using heavy filters. It's interesting kind of just playing around with that and essentially using one grind size and rolling with that. So that's what I want to talk about today. I guess I'm done. For the most part, that's it in a nutshell. So if you got to leave or you want to leave or whatnot, go ahead. But I've known that for a while, but actually experiencing that and playing around with those variables and not changing the grind size this time, no matter what the coffee is. So it's been really cool to see how things work out. Sometimes I'll get it right on the first pour, but at times I won't. And it's okay. And again, the way I combat that is to essentially use the least amount of coffee so I won't be as wasteful with the coffee as I intended to be usually whenever I'm making coffee. It's cool to just play around with that type of stuff or just stay with the same variable. And it's cool because with this grinder, I'm tasting coffee again. Again, I know you may say, but you have an EK43. You should be able to taste coffee all the time. That's true, but I actually started back using the EK43 again. I don't know why I stopped using it, but I think I like the simplicity of the Encore or the Virtuoso. I like the simplicity of it, just pushing the button, playing around with the dials and all that stuff. But it's one of those things to where now I see the significance, the true significance of that type of grinder and what it can do to transform coffee in general. But again, that grinder is more out of touch compared to the uh the virtuoso. It is because it's would you spend $3,000 on a grinder? I know there's people spending $300 on a hand grinder. But I think that's kind of probably really the issue. It's kind of looking at these more so as a necessary tool if you want to grind your coffee fresh or whatnot. I think it goes beyond just it being fresh. It is something that we need to understand is that yes, freshness is important, it's critical, but it's not a be all end all type of situation. I think the most critical thing about a coffee grinder is what it can do for you in flavors and what you can taste in the coffee. And different grinders bring out different things. Like for instance, I think my Mazda Mini works great. I have no issues with it whatsoever. For the most part, it does the job that it needs to. But I've had it for so many years, and I'm curious and wonder if I my espresso will taste differently, if I will have a different perspective on espresso. And I think that's the biggest kicker here. That's the thing that I'm really understanding or trying to understand is that are you like me to the extent of where all coffee tastes the same and we're not really looking at the gear that we have probably in order to get the best out of our coffee? That's the thing that I'm really trying to get at and to ponder about because as I've stated many times is that I've tasted many coffees. I've experienced many coffees and most of them have been used with this virtuoso. And it's interesting how when you use a device like that and the birds are relatively new and I have new birds if I needed to put them in, but if your experience is skewed because of the equipment that you're having, even your technique. Don't get me wrong, it's not so much all the time about the actual equipment that you're using, but it could be to the point where you are limiting yourself mainly because of what you have. And the beauty of this king grinder or grinders like it is that you can get in a ball game relatively cheap. And yes, it's a hand grinder, but for the most part, it's easy to use. It's fun. It's something that I can vouch for quite a bit, and it's pretty cool to use and understand. And and for the most part, if you want to just use one grind setting for everything, you have enough information in your toolbox in order to kind of get the coffee the way that you wanted it to be taste. And if you need to grind it finer or coarser, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and change the grind setting. You know, it's cool. But that's the beauty of all this. That's the cool thing that we're like experiencing together is that we just want to taste good, tasty coffee. That's all we want. We want to enjoy it for what it is. We want to experience it in whichever brew method that we want to do. We want to do the things that we want to do with coffee and then move on with our life, right? Coffee is a very interesting thing. It usually happens in the morning. You drink it and you do other things throughout the day. And at times, you may drink another cup or two from time to time, right? But the kicker here is that it can consume us to the point where we're thinking about it all the time. We're thinking about how things can get better, how that dog, how we can change up different things in our repertoire in order to make a good cup of coffee. And at times when we do that, we tend to just stay in that rabbit hole of seeing what we can do to change it to get better. And here's the funny thing about a lot of this is that we tend to do all of this when we are, I think I lost my train of thought. We do this by ourselves. We do. We may consult people online. We may talk to people in forums. We may say something in comments. We may even talk to people that are in the public eye, our family members, if they want to listen to us yap about coffee. But for the most part, whenever we're there, silently making our cup of coffee, we're doing this alone. We're drinking this alone. Yeah, there's times that we do have parties and we go about making our cup of coffee for other people to enjoy too. But the thing about it is that we're all loners here. We're all lone wolves. We're all just experiencing it for what it is to us. And it's kind of cool that we're able to experience this thing that's very individualistic. But I guess the cool thing about coffee too is that it can be something that we talk to each other about, that we can make a cup for people, that we can meet and talk about other things in life. So it's one of those great divides, but it's also something that, for the most part, especially in the morning time or even in evening time, is that it's our time. It's our time to just enjoy and love and care and think about coffee and make coffee and play around with different techniques, get different coffees from different roasters and different parts of the world and get their take about how they make coffee. And then now we could play around with our gear to see if we can mimic or experience and taste that coffee the best way that we can. And if we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. And I think that's the beauty of the whole community, the whole experience of coffee. And I hope that that does make sense to you. I hope that you're getting that type of feeling from coffee. And I'm glad that I'm able to kind of express myself to kind of give you an understanding of the things that I'm going through, things that I struggle with. I try to be as transparent and trying to be as honest as I can about my walk with coffee, my struggles with coffee, and how I am really trying to get to the point of experiencing it the best way that I can. And I hope that you are experiencing it that way too, meaning that anything that I do say, of course, you take probably with a grain of salt, probably with coarse salt, because what I'm saying is real facts here. But I'm just talking. I'm just sharing my experience. And the beauty of it is that now you are able to see what I'm doing. You're doing what you're doing. And then we're going to get to the point of where we are taking little bits here and there from each other, and we're understanding each other even more so. And I think that's the beauty of all this, is that even though at times I've told you many times that I'm a misanthrope, that I don't care for people and people are assholes and people are mean. And it's true. But I guess what I mean by that, or not backtracking, but give you a more explanation of what I mean by that, is that you've gone through this too. People suck. They suck every time. And no matter what you say to them or try to reason with them, they're going to do things the way that they want to do. And at times it may not be the way that you intended them to do, to be on you or whatever, right? But I bring that up mainly just because it's more so that I am more fascinated with the humanity of people and the greatness of people. And I believe people tend to play it safe. They like to stay average. They don't like to push themselves. So if you're willing to push yourself and guide yourself and then share it with other people or not, that's what I care about. That's the things that I truly, really like about people. But if you're going to be a bum and not care about things and just doing things in the wind of the world, then you stay the fuck away from me. Again, I don't know why I said that, but I just want to give you more of an explanation of me, understanding me, and hopefully we can understand each other more. I know I'm in this weird situation to where I'm trying to create a true, real community, and in me being open about the way I operate, I think that's extremely important. But I think the biggest thing that I can do in order for you to really understand what I'm coming from is it's just doing and just expressing and just sharing. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that I can do as we continue on this journey. So that's what I wanted to talk about in a nutshell. I wanted to let you know what I thought, what I think about brewing and how every recipe works. So even if I do give you a recipe, even though I may say, try this, do that, you're in your own house. You have your own water. You have your own beans. You have your own grinder. You have your own palette. You have all the tools that you have in order to make the best cup of coffee, even with my recommendations. So there is going to be some tweaking. There's going to be some playing. There's going to be some massaging. There's going to be a different direction that you may go in. And that's perfectly fine. Because as you're drinking your coffee, I'm drinking my coffee. So cheers to that. Cheers to us just experiencing one of life's wonders. So that's what I got for you. I hope all is well with you. And we're just going to keep moving this up, grooving. I'll eventually get these video podcasts up. But right now, I just love the part that I can do the audio and the video at the same time. And then eventually I'll go ahead, start releasing these video podcasts. A little bit more work involved in them. But I think we're figuring it out together. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.